we got Steve here tonight, the Panthers fan. So we finally got Steve. We've been waiting to get Steve because he got the first round pick and all that. So how do you feel about that?
I honestly wasn't that surprised that they jumped up to it. I mean, we've been needing somebody. We've been the joke of the NFC South here for pretty much the last 4 years, and rotating quarterbacks like underwear, and just need a little stability, and the ownership change really screwed everything up, and so we're just kind of looking to see what the heck we can and can't do this year. And they've made some decent moves, but getting up and taking that number one pick, we obviously haven't had a first pick since Cam Newton. Which, say what you will about him, but for Carolina, he was the man.
He was the man. When he first came in the league, he was solid for you guys
Oh, absolutely.
for a good amount of years. I don't know, after the Super Bowl with him, it was like his whole mindset just completely changed. Like, I still blame the Denver Broncos for literally breaking Cam Newton. It seemed like after that game, he was never the same quarterback. He always played scared. He always looked scared.
Yeah, I mean, and that 2015-16, that season was huge for him. Obviously getting the MVP, and just a multitude of accomplishments. He did really dang well for everything that he did, but when it came down to it and it came time for the big game, he didn't perform. And I know everybody knows about the notorious not jumping on that fumble like he should have. So, but losing somebody like that and then trying to move on from somebody that, Carolina doesn't have a long, huge, crazy history. So, you only have a handful of guys that we look at as franchise type players, as far as, Jake Delhomme, Steve Smith, Julius Peppers, a handful of these guys who are staples for Carolina.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for us to be able to have that number one draft pick and to hopefully pick out somebody who's going to be worth a dang, really is going to matter. So we'll see. We'll see what they come up with.
Do you think whoever they draft with the first pick, do you think they start the first year?
Yeah, that's going to be tough. Just depending on what they come into. Our quarterback room is not that deep, obviously. And then gosh, what's his name? Who the hell did we pick up? With picking up Andy Dalton, I don't expect Dalton to start. I think I look at him as kind of a solid backup. I think a lot of it's gonna rely on what the hell happens in the OTAs and what these guys do through training camp and who they end up bringing up. But I do kind of foresee a rookie possibly starting the first game of the season.
Definitely. I mean, you can never rule it out, especially if that rookie comes in and takes off right away for you guys. Andy Dalton might not do too bad because I feel like you guys really beefed up as a whole team. I know your defense got better. I feel like you guys did a lot of moves on offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, the weapons are probably the biggest thing. I mean, our biggest loss is losing DJ Moore, and having him go to Chicago. That kind of kills us. I mean, DJ Moore is one hell of a receiver. The guy can run routes. He's fast. He's stealthy. So losing him was kind of a big thing. But then again, we pick up so many guys. Adam Thielen, picking him up, that's a big pick. Then even from Detroit, DJ Chark.
Yep,
right?
you got
Yep.
DJ Shark from us.
Yeah, so we picked him up. And I mean, I think the offense is definitely going to make some improvements. A lot of it's going to rely around protection. You know, if we don't have the protection on the quarterback, which is something that we've lacked in the last few years, it doesn't matter who comes in here, they're going to get buried. Uh, the NFC South has always kind of been notorious, more or less, for the defense. So, I mean, between us and Tampa, I don't expect to be too crazy. Atlanta's always pretty solid, and New Orleans has always had a great core. So we'll just have to kind of see how this plays out this year. But as far as I'm concerned, our division, we're completely up for the taking this year.
Yeah. So let's take a look actually at all of your offseason, all of your offseason moves. The only one I think is not on there is DJ Shark because he was a late signing. But when we made this graphic, you guys obviously traded for the number 1 pick in the draft. You re-signed Shaquille Thompson. You signed free
Shaq.
agents.
Yep, Shaq Carson. Yep.
You got Andy Dalton. You signed Miles Sanders, Hayden Hurst, which I think is going to be actually a really nice signing for you guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you even got Ian Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Brady Bozeman.
Bozeman re-signed. Thankfully, Bozeman is a solid inside guy. So, I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's a grizzled veteran, and he's a good leader in the locker room. So,
yeah, and then you got Deshaun Williams, defense tackle Shy Tootle,
yep.
He's a decent defensive tackle. I feel like he's underrated a lot, but I've seen him play a couple times. I think he's pretty decent. You also got Von Bell, which I feel like that's a big signing for your defense at safety there.
Yeah, that's huge. Just his numbers alone are going to be beneficial to anything that we do up front. So.
You also, and then one of your last signings was Adam Thielen.
Yeah, Thielen. Dude, I remember him most out of Minnesota, if I remember correctly.
Yep. He played his whole career there. If I'm not mistaken, Adam Thielen was undrafted rookie that walked on the Vikings. He was actually one of those rare players that just didn't get drafted and then just bloomed to what he is today.
Yeah. I mean, if that's what happened, then awesome. But I mean, I'm glad to have him because I mean, he just, from remembering seeing his name and seeing his stats being put up, I obviously I can't pull him off the top of my head, but I mean, he's always been a solid type of guy. And when especially looking back on Carolina history, I look towards him as kind of being almost like a Greg Olsen to a degree.
Yeah.
Just someone who's solid and reliable, and they're going to be there when you need them.
He's definitely a very reliable receiver. I've always hated him as a Detroit fan because he was that one player every time we played Minnesota. He was like that one guy, like you could just never shut completely down. And like it didn't matter how good you played against him. He was the one that caught the 50-yard game-winning touchdown, and then you just had to sit there and watch him celebrate, and you're like, you know what, I really hate you. Like nothing personal, but I hate you as a player. Like you're. He was also getting mocked. A lot of people were taking some shots at him over the previous weekend, or maybe sometime beginning this week in an interview. They asked him why he chose Carolina, and he said he wanted to go somewhere where he felt like he could win a Super Bowl, and he really thinks it's possible to win one down there in Carolina, which – if you ask me, I think he's kind of jumping the gun.
He completely jumping the gun. I mean, he's walking into something where you are talking entirely new coaching staff within the last, 2 years, year and a half, basically a year. New defense, new offense, new everything. But the one thing that I'll really kind of give Carolina a hell of a lot of credit on is the fact that they, under new ownership here, his first run, he just kind of went with his gut feeling. Our owner is an extremely wealthy guy, but I don't think he knows football as well as he thinks he does. And he brought in people off a gut feeling his first year. And now it seems that a lot of these people he's brought in now are experienced, not just the players that we've brought in, but, just the coaching staff that we've looked at and the people that we have signed on are grizzled veterans in the industry. So, I mean, that right there makes a huge difference in how everybody's going to play.
Yeah. I mean, especially everybody in the beginning, I feel like, especially, when they come in a new situation like new GM, sometimes new coaches try it. A lot of people just try to jump the gun, you know what I mean? Because they want to prove, they want to prove that they're the right person for the job, but sometimes you got to take the slow approach and actually build the team the right way, which I think your owner and the front office really got it right. I'm glad you guys fired your coach. You deserved that. That coach needed to go. And honestly, I feel like your team's kind of like came out of the blue because we knew, even though last year you guys started out just as bad as us, but you guys made a playoff push there at the end. And it was really impressive. Now with these moves, it all depends with the quarterback play. I mean, you might be able to get Andy Dalton to show some glimpses of Cincinnati Andy Dalton, like in the beginning of his career. He can sling the ball. You got some good wide receivers, especially in Shark, and then you got Thielen, and you got a good tight end coming. I mean, as long as that running game, in which I believe that running game could be huge, because I'm expecting Miles Sanders to honestly blow up this year. I don't think Philly used him as like they should have ever in his career. I think they like running the ball. It hurts too much. So I think he's coming in Carolina with a huge chip on his shoulder.
Well, I'm really just kind of looking forward to our offensive coordinator, Thomas Brown coming in, and he's, coming out of LA where we got him and seeing what they were able to do, especially even with Stafford and the crew that they had out there. I'm interested to see what he does with this. But like you said, everything's going to rely on that first pick. I mean, regardless of who they go with, it's going to be an improvement over what we've had, going from, Mayfield and that and jockeying around with him. It's just hasn't been worth it. So, yeah, just to kind of see some new schemes in place and see something that's going to be hopefully a little more effective. That's really what I'm looking forward to, and just seeing something different. Carolina's always been based in a heavy defense. I mean, you go back and you look at the Julius Peppers and the Luke Kuechly, those type of guys, Thomas Davis. I mean, and they were a solid rock for us, and we've always been defensively based. And as a fan, you want to see some offense. Cam was always great for that, but he didn't pull through when needed be. So just seeing what the hell comes in, and then now having Josh McCown as the quarterback's coach, I'm a little hesitant to see what he's going to do. But I mean, if you bring in somebody young and new and willing to learn, McCown's not a bad guy.
I mean, you got to look at this. McCown, I mean, he was majority of backup quarterback for most of his career and all that. But if you really look at it, he's been in the league for a long time. You know what I mean? So he brings a lot of, experience from the league to that position. And if you notice what's going on with the Lions, you're seeing these players bond with all of our coaches because they're all former players. You know what I mean? They've all done what the players had to do. So I think that's honestly like really smart. Like I think that's a game changer in the NFL and that we're seeing today is former players having better connections with the actual player. You know,
Yeah, that's that's kind of what we were hoping for with the previous coach, with him kind of roughly being a player. But I mean, even when we had Ron Rivera, Ron Rivera being, a player with the Bears throughout the late 80s and their run, I mean, he was great and the locker room followed him.
yeah,
And that does say a lot, It's the same thing in any type of industry where, you respect the person who came up in it and
yeah.
not someone who just worked their way to the top just because.
We got a comment here by from Josh Dodd. What's up, Josh? How you doing, bub? He said Dalton was very solid last year for New Orleans. His numbers were as good as Carr, who they replaced him with. He's a perfect bridge. And I have to agree. I don't think Andy Dalton's a bad quarterback by any means. And
No.
I think he can actually, I think he is a good bridge. Unless you guys draft the quarterback that comes in the training camp and shows he's NFL ready, which
Uh-huh.
we're not going to know that until that time comes around. But
Gotcha.
I think you got a perfect opportunity to sit a rookie behind it for a year, let the team
Oh, yeah.
gel, and then you did a lot of the big moves this year. So
Yes.
hopefully next year you're just in a position where you just need to add a couple more pieces and then you guys should be a playoff team. And I'm not
Yeah.
going to root you guys off out of the playoffs for this year either, because to me the strongest team in your division right now is New Orleans.
Yeah. New Orleans is definitely looking the strongest. And then I just pulled up Dalton's stats right here. I mean, damn near 3,000 passing yards, 18 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Got a hell of a lot of sacks, but then again, did not have the greatest line. So,
Exactly. I mean,
just kind of is a quarterback rating of 102. I mean, still pretty damn solid and consistent. But I mean that even those stats alone are enough to win our division. There's no one comparable. You got Brady leaving, Matt Ryan, him leaving Atlanta and all that, kind of left them in disarray.
yeah, because they're still at questions for quarterback.
Oh yeah,
because you had Mariota quit on the Falcons.
yep.
So he's gone, and I haven't heard no one even signing him. So I'm taking his last stunt. Probably got him kicked out of the league. So I think they're going to let Riddler start over there in Atlanta this year. He seemed like he could be a decent quarterback, but I haven't seen much tape of him. So I mean, it's basically going to be you guys versus Derek Carr and the Saints.
Yeah, I think it's going to boil down to that. Especially with Tampa Bay losing Brady, Gronkowski, whatever. I just did, and with Brady, and I know this as a Michigan fan, I love the guy from the get-go. He's busted his ass and has absolutely done his worth in this league. But yeah, losing somebody like him and somebody that's that much of a leader in the locker room, Tampa Bay, I expect to kind of drop off into obscurity where they were before Brady came on. They're not going to be as prevalent as they used to be.
Sorry. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Speaking of Brady, just since you brought him up real quick, I don't know if this rumor is true. So anybody watching, don't hold this on me. But I've seen a tweet today get tweeted out, and it said sports rumor
with the Dolphins
that Brady is thinking about supposedly coming out of retirement and joining the Miami Dolphins. And I guess he, from what I took of the tweet, it was like in an interview where somebody was talking to him and he mentioned it and he said, I have a lot of friends that play for the Dolphins, and he left it as that. So I don't know how true that is, but I kind of felt a little weird how he just unretired and then retired this year. So I'm not gonna write it off at this point.
I mean, at this point, you can't with him. I mean, this, I just from a, this is like looking at it like a Gordie Howe hockey type of view. Like if Brady can, he'll play into his 70s. Granted, he's not going to be able to, but just theoretically, that's the type of mentality he has. I mean, what the hell does he have to lose? He already lost his family, and one of the hottest supermodels who ever lived. So,
I mean, can you blame him? Can you blame him for wanting to keep playing as long as he possibly can?
No,
I mean,
no. When you look at the money behind it and his fame and his namesake, and I mean, the man is a legend. So, I mean, he will go down as the GOAT, flat out. I mean, nobody has that many rings. I highly doubt we will ever see anybody with that many rings in our lifetime. And yes, I'm talking to you, Kansas City fans.
I mean, let's be real, man. Now, if there's any team that has the chance to break the Brady dynasty and quarterback, it is Mahomes as of right now.
Absolutely. I mean, the guy's a beast.
You can't take that, you know what I mean? As much as we want to, we can't take that from him. And no. I know we're getting off a little topic, guys. Steve is born and raised in Michigan, and I lives in North Carolina, so he's a Panthers fan. He jumped off the Lions record. He couldn't be a fan no more.
I left after Barry Sanders left, and that broke my heart. So, and then moved down here in 2000, and I've been a Panthers fan pretty much ever since. But
hey, I don't blame you to a certain extent, but I probably would have been the same way. Could have been the same way. But, unfortunately for me, the last time I seen Barry play, it was like before I even knew the rules of football. I just remember everybody in the basement, cheering for Brady or Barry. And just little bits and pieces because I was a little too young, unfortunately, for all that. So more about Carolina. If you had to pick right now, where would you put yourself at the end of the season?
Like overall record?
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to be up in that double-digit win category. I honestly haven't looked at our schedule. Actually, I don't even know if schedules are released yet. Been busy with family stuff, but gosh, I really hope us to be on the top of our division. I really see no reason why we shouldn't be. I mean, with the people that we have, the acquisitions that we've made, the coaching staff that we have basically drawn out and then picked back up, I see us being significant. A lot of it's just going to depend. I mean, if any game that we play outside of the NFC South is going to be a gamble for us. You throw so many new people into a new system, new coaches, new staff, new players, new quarterback. It's not going to happen overnight, but I mean, if we can at least make the playoffs this year, I'll feel relatively accomplished for what the staff is currently doing, and upper management for that respect. And then just look forward to more next year. But you get in that type of rebuilding phase, you don't know exactly what direction you're going to head until you have somebody sitting at the head of the table. And for us, that question lies at quarterback. That's going to be the biggest thing for us all around.
Now, per se, you guys do not go to you guys don't make the playoffs. Would you be pretty upset, or at the same time, as long as you hit double digits, play hard?
I
Will you
mean,
be satisfied?
it's some of it's going to come down. All right, so when I think about something like that, then I'm gonna look back to like the 2013-14 and 14-15 season for Carolina, where you got so damn close, you busted your butt so hard, you got beat in the first or second round, and you're knocked the hell out, and then you have the correct weapons in place, uh, and a lot of the guys that we had at that time were guys that we thought were solid as hell. But it's just I'm not going to be disappointed in them. I just want to see progress, and that's like with any team that sits themselves at the bottom of the bracket. Next year, I'm not looking for the Super Bowl next year. I'm looking for give me a decent playoff run. Give me one or two games into it where we're competitive, where we show up, where the offense isn't making stupid calls in the last 5 minutes of the game, where we're going to punt it away and then, give the other team the opportunity to run off the clock. And then we've seen a lot of that in Carolina the last couple of years. So I'll be happy to see some good solid play on both sides of the ball. Defense has always still been solid, but our offense has just been so out of tune with everything, and we can't seem to protect a quarterback to save our lives. So,
How how are you feeling about the new head coach?
Frank, good. I mean, I think things are going to be kind of the way we want to see them. It kind of hard to say, I mean, especially with just getting rid of our head coach, having an interim. Uh, I'm, his record kind of speaks for itself, but uh, until you're in that new system with those new players and new coordinators, uh, we just kind of have to wait and see. I mean, it's everything right now is such a gamble in Carolina. We want to get the best out of everybody that we've had. We have definitely put a lot of capital into a lot of these. Everything from the coaching staff to the trainers and all that. I mean, they pretty much wiped house this last year.
Yeah,
Uh, so, I mean, all I can do is kind of cross my fingers and hope and pray. And then, the draft pick's going to mean a lot. The type of offensive scheme defense is going to be changing. We already know that. Going from a 4-3 to a 3-4. So, I mean, a lot of things are going to change down here, but I think it's going to be to the biggest benefit of some of the veterans that we have on our team.
yeah,
Uh, leaving, uh, oh gosh, leaving Rivera. With
yeah.
Rivera leaving, that completely just wiped the board on everything. And any of the veterans that we did have, they weren't able to compensate, and they weren't able to pick up these new roles as quickly as they would have
See,
liked.
see, that's why I don't like hiring coaches from college. You only see a couple coaches come in here from college and succeed. Pete Carroll is one of them, but I'm pretty
Yes.
sure Pete Carroll had previous NFL experience earlier in his career. I'm pretty sure. I think Saban could probably be a good NFL coach just because I know he had previous experience down there in Miami
Mhm.
before he became a head coach in college. But like you've seen it with the Jacksonville Jaguars and Urban Meyer that failed miserably,
Yeah.
which I knew that was going to happen right off the bat. I didn't
Mhm.
expect Urban Meyer to actually be as stupid as he was with his job right off the beginning. I didn't expect him to get himself fired, but I didn't
Well,
expect him to be a good coach either.
when when it comes to Urban, uh, and this is just my personal thought on it, is that he didn't have as much control as he was hoping he would have.
Yeah.
It's way different when you're coaching somebody in a college aspect, and this is before the whole NIL deal stuff. so even before that, he had a lot of control over all of his players, what they did,
Well,
where they went, what they, everything.
oh
Uh,
yeah.
then now you jump up into a world where these guys are considered grown ass men, and they make their own decisions, they do what they want to do, doesn't really matter. Oh, some of them maybe making even more than you.
A lot of them actually.
Yeah, but I mean, and then you're going to come in here and try to have the exact same type of control that you had in college. It's not going to work. And very similarly, with us and Matt Rule, Matt Rule wasn't a bad coach. He didn't demand the respect in the locker room, and the guys didn't respect him. He came in with this whole like gung ho mentality, and he wasn't able to follow through with any of it.
Yeah.
It's a completely different world when you're dealing with guys from their freshman college year till maybe their junior, rarely senior year, and then dealing with somebody who's a franchise player who you may have to deal with for the next 15 years or so. I mean, Brady, another perfect example. Or I mean, Christ, look at uh Jesus. Losing my train of thought here. Uh, Green Bay,
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, look at Aaron Rodgers. I mean, guys that are going to be there for a while, you're going to have a harder time controlling. So,
Exactly. I mean, I that's the hard thing. I just think like, I mean, these guys come in college, they're trying to run the college plays, and it's just like, some of those plays will work in the pros because I think they're way more creative in college than actually the pros, to be honest.
mhm.
I've noticed that now when you're sitting there watching college, you'll see them run a play that you've never seen ran in the NFL, and you're kind of like scratch your head a little bit, like, why
I
don't
don't think
NFL do this as much? And then you see a coach come in there and they're trying that exact play, and then you see it blowing up real fast, and you're like, oh yeah, that's why.
Well, I
'Cause-
mean, you want to break it down to the numbers, and you look at how many guys are actually playing college football, whether it be Division 1, 2, 3, whatever. I mean, you got a ton
yeah,
of these, and you have an extremely small percentage who actually move on to the NFL. And the guys who do move on to the NFL, I mean, these guys are the elite of the elite. They're not stupid. They've seen some of these dumb plays run before. They've reacted to them. They know how to handle them. So yeah, I mean, it just a college coach can come up with more, you know, not BS plays, but just off the wall type things that you're never going to see in the NFL. Uh, so I mean, I'm not surprised, but just that college mentality, and I think some of it has to do with like a superiority complex with some of these coaches that come out of the NCAA and try and jump into the NFL, and it's a way different game. I mean, it really is, and that's why Rule didn't last long here. I mean, he did not have the mentality nor the gameplay or the game plan to be able to make anything effective in the NFL.
yeah. So real quick, you since we're talking about this, I wanted to get your opinion on this. So what do you think about this Cam Newton trying to make a comeback?
Dude, if he makes a comeback, it's either going to be in the XFL or the USFL. He's could he be a backup? Yes, absolutely. But I don't know if you paid attention to any of his social media stuff, but he comes out saying that he will only back up a certain amount of quarterbacks, and he named them off.
Yeah,
And that's fine, whatever. But do these people want you?
I
I
don't think
mean,
nobody wants him. I think
I
he's
don't think
just.
so either.
I mean, I'm not going to say he's broke because I know he's made some good business decisions off the field and makes
Yeah.
pretty damn good money, and he's a smart person. But where I think he's kind of being stupid is instead of just saying like, hey, look, guys, I miss being in the locker room. I miss football. I want to be on a team and coming in, throwing the ball, maybe trying to get with a team like Washington or maybe a Seattle or and a team that really needs a backup. Maybe even the Carolina Panthers. Maybe he is a third string.
I mean,
He
yeah,
has history,
we got rid of PJ Walker. He's gone now. What we have right now is basically Andy Dalton.
I mean,
right.
it'd be one more veteran for you guys, in case something, God forbid, something happens to Dalton in the beginning of the season. You're not throwing the rookie to the wolves.
All right, so a year and a half ago here, when Carolina brought him back on, excuse me, during the Matt Rule era, and Carolina needs somebody. We all knew that when he came back to Carolina, it was not just for his quarterback play. A lot of it was for the hype.
Yeah.
And to get in the first game that he came and played in Carolina, I took my daughter to. Had an awesome time, and I'll gladly share the video of that. But he fueled us, just as a fan base. And we needed it. I mean, we lost that game. Washington didn't kill us. I want to say it was 27-21. And it boiled down to the last 5-6 minutes of the game. But just having somebody like that who is, as energetic as he is, love him or hate him, you cannot fault the guy for the fact that he pumped people up, whether it was good or bad, against your team or for Carolina. He rooted for his actions, and he did damn well at that.
Exactly. I mean, that's something I think all of us as sports fans enjoy. If you think about it, a good comeback story, even though that player might not be what he was, he's might not going to help you win that game, and you might just go and watch your team get beat. What I mean?
Yep.
But at the end of the day, it gives you it's nice when you see a player like Cam Newton because he did a lot for your franchise. He made you relevant for a lot of consecutive years. I mean, you guys were a good team majority of the time with him. I only remember a couple bad years, and those bad years are really when he was hurt and couldn't finish the season. Other than that, and he didn't get hurt, and he played through a lot of injuries. He wasn't one of these running quarterbacks that get hit, boom, hurt, he's done. He played.
He was also a really big guy.
Yeah, he was one of the biggest.
He could plow through people like no other, and it was amazing to watch him play and to see him just being able to run things in from 25 yards out, no problem. Whereas most quarterbacks would have just thrown it out of bounds. He did make it exciting for us. And I think that's kind of what our fan base wants right now. We want somebody who's going to be exciting to watch. Just the guys that we've had the last couple years in this rotisserie of random quarterbacks is just it's not sustainable. And that's the big leadership role in the room is always led by that quarterback.
And and I get what you're exactly saying. I'm glad. I'm glad Jared Goff for the Lions is working out so far, and because I get where you're coming from, because I would hate to see my team sitting there trying to piece in quarterbacks year in, year out, because it just seems like it never works. We've watched so much teams try that. I mean, unless you're the 49ers, and that's the only team I'm ever going to say, because it's like the 49ers, they have like 9 lives almost every year. It's like every year, in the last part of the stretch of the playoffs, or in the beginning of the year, they're all hurt. They're banged up. They're losing a lot of games. Then all of a sudden, they make a couple switches, a couple players come back, and it's like you can't touch them. It's like a whole new team. and they've been able to do this pretty much year in, year out there. So it's like you always got to pick them right out of the box. But you've seen Washington, and I don't think Washington has a bad team, but I just think Ron. I can't pronounce his last name, but your ex-coach,
Riverboat Ron.
you know, I don't know what he's doing in Washington. Obviously, I think he's only kept his job really because the owners, obviously, a basket case situation. That's why he just.
That's a whole other thing that
You
is
know,
probably about to be dealt with, I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure because I don't think the new owners are going to put up with, 1 minute this guy starting winning games, the next minute this guy has 2 bad games,
Yep.
which technically probably wasn't his fault. And then they're replacing him with this guy.
Shit. Washington is damn near Carolina light. You realize that they've had like 2 of our quarterbacks been taken there in the last 3 years between Heineke and who else? They had Kyle Allen.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I think they did.
And
Heineke, I felt bad for him because that kid came in and fucking played his ass off for that team, and then they're just like, yeah, we're gonna re-sign Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Okay, just fuck Heineke then, I guess.
Well, I mean, and I just pulled it up here a minute ago and looked at it. Just within the last 5 years, Carolina has rotated through 8 quarterbacks. From Cam Newton, Heineke, Kyle Allen, Will Grier, Bridgewater, PJ Walker, Darnold, and Mayfield. So I mean, we've gone through this carousel of people, and dude, we're just tired of it. So
I don't blame you. Like if when the Lions got rid of Stafford, that's all I asked was get a quarterback that can either be serviceable until you can draft a quarterback, or draft a quarterback to potentially maybe recreate his career. And I believe right now that is happening with Jared Goff.
Well, I mean, that was actually my next question to you, man. How do you feel about Goff? I mean, is he going to be something viable?
Honestly, I like it. And it's weird. And it's weird because at first I was like, I was sticking up for Jared Goff because all the Lions fans were pissing me off by still on Stafford's nuts. And only why I bring this up is, I was a Stafford fan to the day he got traded. I still wanted to root for him when he went to the Rams. I did not want to become a hater against Stafford. But I kind of started going that route because I was so sick of the Detroit fans, because when he was here for 12 years, if we lost, everybody put it on Stafford. He could score 35 points, but our defense let 48 points up, and it's Stafford's fault because he threw 1 pick before halftime. Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, even looking at Goff right now, I mean, he's a little over 10 years into the league.
He's way under that.
No,
dude, he's not even 30, bro. He's only like 29, 28 years old. I'll look it up right now and I'll share it when I do it.
All right. I mean, he's got to be up there to close to pushing 10 years.
Man.
Yeah, he's been around a hot minute.
It seems like he's been around for a hot minute, but in reality, not so much.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm not even close. Yeah, no, he announced his decision to forego his senior year. He entered the draft in 2016. Okay, I'm wrong. Damn. Okay, so he's 6, going on his 7th year in the league right now. So I mean, he's primed. He is definitely primed up.
Sorry about that, guys. Right here, 2016. What's his birthday? Yeah, he's only 28 years old.
Oh shit. Okay. Well,
so I mean, he's been in the league for a little bit of time, but at 28 years old,
yeah, that gives him more leadership and more of a role. And, I mean, he's a damn solid quarterback. So, I mean, he's,
I mean,
obviously done something.
he's tied for fifth in all touchdowns out of quarterback. He kept our offense in the top 5 all season. I mean, I don't know how you take a team with 3 wins last year and keep the whole offense in the top 5 all season and be a bad quarterback. And trust me, the Detroit fans, they're still on the. I call a lot of Detroit fans with all my respect. I love my city, I love my team, and I love my fan base for the most part. But some of y'all like to hit that crack rock a little too much because it's like, dude, you got to sell a QB, keeping your offense top 5 all year. You missed the playoffs by 1 game, and it was because your damn Carolina Panthers snuck in there and got a W against us.
Yeah.
But other than that, we almost went to the playoffs. You went not once, but twice, embarrassed the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. You had Aaron Rodgers literally crying about you for like 5 weeks straight in almost every interview, always trying to make comments, So to me, it's like, this is just the start to our takeoff. I don't think we win the Super Bowl in 2023 by any means. Do I expect a good playoff run? I do.
Yeah.
Now, 2024, 2025, I think that's the start of our window.
And that's kind of the same thing. That's kind of the same thing I'm looking at with us. And your guys' division has always been pretty cutthroat, and
it's coming pretty weak though. The North is pretty weak. I mean,
this year
let's see here. You got the Bears. They're probably going to be the second best team, depending on Justin Fields' progress. You still have to keep the Vikings up there, but I just don't know how good they're going to be. Because if you really go back to their season, Detroit proved they were the better team than Minnesota. They didn't, we proved we were better than Bears. We proved we were better than Packers. We lost 1 division game last year. That was only to the Vikings. And guess what? That was to our team, our coaching error. We made a bad decision to kick that field goal. We should have went for it, which we probably could have got it. And then guess what? If we don't get it, we lose. It is what it is. But we try to kick a field goal with our kicker that was hurt. It was a fire field goal. He missed completely. That was the error on us. So technically, if you really look at it, even though the Lions were just in the second year of this rebuild, we were still the best team in the North going by division record.
Yeah.
Because we ain't lose no games to the Bears. We ain't lose to the Packers. We only lost that 1 game to the Vikings, and then we beat them at home convincingly before the season was out to prove that we were better. And the only why I'm putting the Vikings on edge is because they lost a lot of players. They're in cap trouble as it is. Yep. So they're going to have to plug a lot of holes, a lot of rookies, fill in those holes. And then, if somebody gets hurt or something and they go down and they need to trade for somebody, who knows if they can even pull a trade with their cap situation. So I think don't get me wrong, I think they're going to try their hardest. They're not going to be an easy team because I do feel like if the Vikings don't do nothing this year, they have no other choice but to blow that team up and start from scratch again. Maybe not total scratch, but they're going to have to clear out some cap space tremendously and get young.
Yeah, they're not gonna have much of a choice.
So I don't see the North really being a strong division for a few years here. I'm saying about maybe 3 to 4 years even. I think it could be between the Lions and Bears for the next 3-4 years. Because and now I can't talk too much on Green Bay because we haven't seen Jordan Love.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, but from what I've seen, we haven't seen much from Jordan Love, and the stuff we have seen hasn't been something you could run home and brag about either. So it really just depends. I think Green Bay, and I think Green Bay is going to have to do a little bit of rebuild. See what they got in Jordan Love. See if he's going to be able to be the franchise QB there. So it's actually looking pretty good for the Lions, because I'm not too scared of the Bears yet, because to me, Justin Fields is kind of in like the Lamar Jackson boat for me, per se. I'm not going to sit here and say he's a trash QB. It's just he runs the ball way more than he throws the ball. You know what I mean? I know that's not his fault because he hasn't had all the wideouts. We're going to find out this year, because the Bears, if they got DJ Moore, and now they got Claypool 100% coming in the year, and they got Mooney coming back 100% healthy.
Claypool, good Lord. How old is he now?
He's only been in the league. This is I think this might be his third year going this year. This is a different Claypool. I think you're probably thinking of a different Claypool.
Yeah, never mind.
This is
Chase.
One of the rookie receivers Pittsburgh took a couple years
Yeah,
back.
Chase Claypool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, the Bears are going to have a decent.
I'm thinking West Claypool.
Yeah, and then you got DJ Moore, which you know firsthand.
Yeah.
Fast, wide out, great hands, good tough player. And you got Mooney. Mooney for the Bears is just as fast. So I mean, Justin Fields is going to have a nice little wide out core for the first time in his career as a Chicago Bear.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see if he's going to make me eat some of my words, because we might see him throw the ball more than run the ball. That's why, me personally, I don't want a Russian QB. I don't. Now, if I get a gunslinger that can run the ball, but he's only going to run the ball when he has to, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, don't.
But force. I don't want a Russian QB that I need to get 20 Russian TDs to make the playoffs, because it takes one run to break a leg, get your arm broke, break some ribs, tear ACL, be done for the year. I don't want a Lamar Jackson. Okay.
I don't want another Cam Newton. I loved Cam, but damn, 2015, he beat the shit out of himself, and I mean, he did it, and we got to the Super Bowl, but I mean, man, he took a hell of a beating, and ever since that Super Bowl, he has never been the same.
I blame Von Miller killed his career. Just saying.
Oh yeah, no, Von Miller got into his head heavy,
and he's still there. I think that's the real reason why he actually he walked away from football for the last couple of years and kind of disappeared there for a little bit. It's because he's like, I can't take this no more. In his head, I think. Did I lose you? There you
go. No, I'm sorry. I just got the phone adjusts here. So
you're good. I feel like in his head, when he's not getting rushed, by a linebacker or a defensive lineman, just standing there throwing the ball, I really think he thinks he's the best QB. He still got it. But it's once some lights hit, it's like the person that's talking in these videos and on Twitter, it's not the same guy.
No, I appreciate the mentality.
Yeah. Awesome. I mean,
but
that's what you want from your quarterback. You want the leader of your team, not afraid, not scared to go, to go say those things.
I know Cam comes off especially with an overbit of cockiness. But I mean, that is what you want in your quarterback. You want him to come out, I want somebody to come out in a fur coat, smoking a cigar, come out old school style like the 70s and say, yeah, we're going to do this. But, following through nowadays is a whole different thing.
Exactly. I mean, you see it Lamar, so in instance, since I bring up Lamar Jackson, I'm just trying to get everybody's input. What do you think about the Lamar Jackson's little soap opera he got going on in Baltimore?
I mean, He's obviously needed. I mean the Ravens are a shit show. And if he's gone from there, I'm not too sure exactly where the hell he'd land up.
I don't think nowhere, because to this day, there's not been one team, because teams can offer him a contract, and then Baltimore gets the chance to match
Counter. Yeah.
or counter the before he can sign. And the crazy thing is, to this day, there has been one team that offered him a contract.
Well, I mean, and that's
And that to me, that's speaking volumes.
Yeah, that speaks volumes. I mean, if nobody else is willing to offer you anything, maybe you need to reevaluate where you are in the pecking order.
And then you got Lamar, and then you got what you call it, then you got Jalen Hurts signing that extension, which I think really hurts Lamar Jackson. Because think about it, look at the deal. I can show you the deal. Look at this deal. Let me get on 4th and goal.
You're good.
I shared the stats the other day in a post.
Oh, see, and I just type it in on a damn Google search, and the very first article that pops up says Eagles coach says we don't pay Jalen Hurts more to do less. And if there's going to be a grittier, more just balls to the wall type of fan than an Eagles fan, besides Cowboys, I mean, Eagles fans are pretty hardcore. So, I mean, they're not going to stand by him. They don't want the drama.
Look at this. Let me see here. I don't know why it won't let me bring it up. Can you read it? But it says right here, Eagles, Jalen Hurts reached agreement, 5 years, 255 million extension, including owing $304 million guaranteed. Now that's what he signed. Now listen to this. He signed that. He just took his team to the Super Bowl. In his third year. Lamar Jackson's been in the league, I think, like 1 year less, maybe 2 years less than Goff has. So he wants like 250 million guaranteed, no less, or some crap.
Dude, he's asking for something that
it's ridiculous.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ludicrous.
And here's a quarterback in 3 years, mind you, 3 years, takes his team to the Super Bowl. He only gets 179 million. You know what I mean? I know it's not only to us. That's a lot of moolah to us. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, wait a minute, dude. You think you're worth this much, but here's the new contract for a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, because you can't say it. You haven't got your team there. You know what I mean? And I don't think Lamar Jackson's a bad quarterback. I just think he's like a Michael Vick stage right now. Because let's be honest, Michael Vick, after prison with the Eagles, if he played like that his whole career, you know what I mean? If he played like that his whole career with the land like he did the Eagles, he would have won a Super Bowl. Hands down.
Easily.
I think, he just didn't learn how to, play a pocket QB center.
Yeah, I mean, you can't come right out of the gate asking for that much. I mean, yes, is he worth it? Probably. I mean, seeing what he's already been able to do, awesome. But I mean, then you're going up against the salaries of guys who have been in the league for 8+ years, and you're expecting to just all of a sudden be the highest paid of all of them just because you turn something around in a franchise in a couple of years.
Well, see, here's my thing is, like, I don't know if you call I did a GOAT video to comparing because a lot of Lions fans were like, "Oh, you need a trade for Lamar," all that. So I compared between Jordan. If you compare their stats other than the running stats to quarterbacks, Jared Goff beats him as a stand-up quarterback.
Oh yeah, I'm not
by yardage, by touchdowns. I mean, it's not like a large margin, but it's like the career throwing yards, like the gap between Lamar and Jared Goff, it's pretty big.
Oh
And
yeah,
that just shows he's running the ball way more than he's throwing the ball. And it's like, dude, you cannot win championships when you're running the ball like a running back, my guy. That's how you get yourself killed. The last 2 years, they've had good teams that make a good playoff run and didn't get to see much of it because he was hurt.
Yeah. Hey, and shit. Just on that note, that's kind of the same way that we felt about Christian McCaffrey. He was a high value draft pick for us. He busted his butt, and we overworked the shit out of him. And
okay, I'm glad you said that because a lot of Panthers fans try to blame him for being hurt, and I'm like, no, he's touching the ball like over 100 times a year, way more than that.
No, he was touching the ball way too many times a game. He was relied upon way too much. He was not used as a consistent running back, and half the time he was just like on an RPO. And they beat the hell out of him. Carolina abused him. And stupidly enough, and even if Carolina fans want to argue it, they can look it up. We actually did better stat-wise per our running backs after getting rid of Christian McCaffrey because we didn't rely on him for everything. They spread stuff out. They used Foreman a lot. We did so much better after getting rid of him and not using him as a focus point. I love the guy. He's a phenomenal freaking player, and I'm glad he was able to go somewhere where, he's better used in a system like that than what we had. But, I mean, good God. Christian McCaffrey is the perfect example of this. I mean, he's a great dude, phenomenal for the community. He did a hell of a lot here in Charlotte. And just his dedication to the game. I mean, the guy is smart. And I liken him kind of to almost to kind of like a Luke Kuechly mentality of, watch a video, see what's going on. What are they doing? What can I do? And, he was an awesome player, but he just, all the focus was on him so much that our quarterback relied on him. Our wide receivers gave up because they just wanted to see what the hell he was going to do. And yeah, I mean, shit like that drives me nuts. But
yeah, for shits and giggles, I pulled up his stats here. So Christian McCaffrey came in the league 2017.
Yes.
He played 16 games for you guys. He had 117 attempts. And I remember this because he only had like 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I remember people like not really believing the hype about him. 2018, he went from 117 to 400 yards to all 16 games, 219 rushing attempts, almost 1,100 yards, 2 yards away from 1,100, with 7 touchdowns. 2019, he rushed for 287 times.
Yeah.
For 1,387. 15 touchdowns. That was his best year touchdowns. 2020, he played 3 games, 59 yards attempt, and scored 5 touchdowns, and I think was hurt the rest of the year. That's when his body is like, hey, you guys ran me to death the 2 previous years. I can't keep doing this shit.
No, they absolutely beat the hell out of him.
2021, he played 7 games. And that's the crazy thing is this is how bad you guys beat him that 2 years because he only ran the ball 99 times for you guys in 2021 with one touchdown and only 442 yards. He barely beat his rookie season. Same thing 2022. Well, a little bit. He played 6 games with you last year.
Yes.
And he was back to his pretty much old self. Just because your O-line wasn't quite there, that's what killed him. Because he rushed the ball in 6 games 85 times, 393 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
And that's insane.
That is insane.
You cannot expect a guy to hold up in that type of offense. It's
And
not
then
going to happen.
And then after the trade, he played 11 games with the 49ers. He rushed the ball 159 times there, 746 yards with 6 touchdowns.
Damn near double the yardage. I mean,
because he had a backfield with help. So I mean, and that's just crazy. And let's go back to 18 and 19 were his best years, right?
Well, from 22 to 23, I mean, Christ, he tripled his touchdowns.
Now let's go back to this. Now here's his passing yards. Let's look at his receiving yards. I mean, they're pretty freaking crazy. His rookie year, he had 80 receptions for 651 yards and 5 touchdowns. 2018, he had 107 receptions, 867 yards receiving. Plus, he had 219 rush attempts with 1,098 yards and 7 touchdowns. That's fucking crazy.
Oh, it's huge.
That is crazy numbers.
Yeah, but when you beat a running back up that hard in the first couple years, of course you're not going to get the production. I mean, if you look at it, when his games played dropped off from 2019 to 2020, he did 16 games in 2019 and 3 in 2020.
That's not even the crazy thing. Listen to this one. Year 2019, remember? I just said it. 287 rushing yards.
287.
Or 287 rushing attempts. 1387 rushing yards. His passing for 2019, 116 receptions, 1,005 yards receiving, and 4 touchdowns on the top of his 15. So he had 19 touchdowns total, over 2,300 yards.
In
1 year. And then fans are getting mad at him in Carolina for being hurt. Man, I would have asked for like 3 years off if that was my numbers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just joking. I would never, I mean, that's the point of the game is to get the best stats and help your team win. But that shit was just crazy.
Oh, I mean, he's a phenomenal player. But I mean, you cannot rely on one person, man. This is still a team sport. You have to have these other guys as a support system, and this is why like Steve Smith and Greg Olson and all those type of guys. That's why they work so well together, because you had all these other options and weapons, and Carolina just hasn't had it. I mean, even going back to the days when Carolina drafted Biaka Batuka, he was brought in as like the next savior, and I mean, he was great for a while. Man, he dropped off hard. But Carolina, and that's kind of the one thing I worry about with whatever quarterback we end up picking, is that we're going to overwork him, and we're going to kill him, and he'll be here for like 4 years, and then he'll want to go somewhere else. Because the thing is that with Carolina, we always, just over the last 23 years that I've noticed, we tried to rely on one person way too damn much. You can't do that. This is not a Michael Jordan scenario or, whatever, but you have to have that supporting cast around him.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. Like, honestly, if you ask me, McCaffrey getting traded, because I know I watched him on Bussin' with the Boys, and he
Uh-huh.
was
Oh,
kind of,
yeah.
and he was like talking about the trade, and he sounded like he was pretty bummed when everything first popped and went off.
He did not want to leave Carolina, man. He came out publicly and flat out said that this was the place that he thought he would play his entire career at. And to be honest with you, I could see him even coming back to Carolina.
I
But
could see before and retiring anyway.
yeah,
I honestly think, me personally, I don't think he hasn't realized this yet. I think this saved his career. And only
it
why
did.
I say that is because I feel like Carolina was never going to stop using him like that. They're
Yeah,
like, man,
you're
this
right.
dude can put up this number. We're going to chase it every year. We don't give a crap, pretty
Yeah,
much. You know, they made it
absolutely.
well known.
No, absolutely. And they like we said, they beat him into the ground pretty damn well. I mean, it would have been Barry Sanders all over again. you know, they rely on you like crazy. They expect you to come out with the extraordinary play every single time you touch the ball. Uh, but I think it absolutely saved his career, man. I agree with you. Sending him to the 49ers is probably one of the best damn things that Carolina could have done for him.
Yeah,
I hated
I mean,
losing him, but
at least they sent him, you know what I mean? At least they sent him to a team that actually, has a true chance of actually winning something too. You know what I mean?
yes, yeah.
Because they could have just been, a prick and been like, we're trading you to the Texans because
Yeah, you're
you know
going
what
to
I
the
mean?
Texans. Good luck.
You know what I mean? They didn't have to be like, we're sending the 49ers. I didn't the crazy thing is I didn't really think he was gonna get traded. I mean, obviously I heard the rumors.
Well, and dude, and I know you can vouch for this, and I even posted this in the group years ago before it happened that Carolina will not get rid of Cam Newton, and sure as shit they did, you know, and I posted that years ago, and hey, I mean, as much as we love this game, it is still a business at the same time. So,
Exactly. And that's the thing too, like, you know, I think that's what a lot of people forget, you know what I mean? And honestly, that's what I hate, like I still haven't bought a Lions jersey, and I know that probably makes me look kind of dumb because I got my own broadcast and but the reason why I haven't bought a Lions jersey is because players come and go so
yeah,
much in the NFL
yes,
that it's been hard for me to pull a trigger. I'm probably going to get a Hutchinson jersey for this year coming up, just because I know he's going to be in Detroit for at least the first 5 years. I don't see him. I see him coming back at least for a second time around. I can't predict the true future, but at least I know I got a solid four more years of
yeah,
Hutchinson being on the Lions. Hockey's a little bit different. You get a good player, you buy a good player's jersey, and that good player is usually playing for that team for quite a few years.
yeah.
Um, and that's the thing. Like I almost went. Like actually, I lied. I do have a. Sorry, I take it back. I do have a Lions jersey. Why I always
Ah,
think I don't is it's because it's never came out of the box or the plastic, because it's actually a Stafford jersey and it's signed and it's
nice.
it's in a plastic
Well,
sheet. So technically,
keep it.
I did lie. I do own a jersey, technically two, because I do have a Kenny Galladay jersey signed in my big frame. You've seen it before. He used to sit
Yep,
behind me
yep.
when I was set up in my kitchen back in the day. Um, so technically, I have two jerseys, but the Kenny Galladay. I
I
don't know
mean,
how much I can even sell that for now.
dude, I still have a few. I still have a Cam Newton. I still got my Luke Kuechly. I still have D'Angelo Williams. Uh, Oh gosh, who else do I have? I've got two others. I just can't think of who the hell's on them right now.
Well,
Uh,
Luke, well, I mean, you got some identical jerseys for your team. Like Luke,
well, yeah,
Luke is going to be the man for you. He's always going to be remembered for the play. I mean, it sucks he retired because of injuries or concussions.
yeah, concussions.
But
Yeah,
that dude was one of the best linebackers. Watching him, like I was pretty young, I think, when he came. I was still in high school, I think, when he first came to the league. I want to say. I could be totally wrong, but I think he was. I used to remember watching him, just sitting there watching him. I used to enjoy watching him. Like when we played the Panthers, I was excited to see what plays he was going to make. I've always loved linebackers.
he just I've never seen a linebacker read the plays so accurately. And I mean, he was always on point. He was aggressive as hell. I mean, there's stories about him just staying after hours or coming in early to sit there and watch tape. I mean, he's always been a phenomenal player and definitely probably one of the best linebackers and to me at least Hall of Fame worthy just for the way that he played the game.
Yeah, I mean, like you can look at like I remember watching games. It was like almost every pile, every tackle. He was getting up from the pile, and it's like, dude, you were just like on the other sideline. How are you over there?
Yeah.
You know, he was like one. He was one. I want to say one of the really first linebackers coming to that game that could cover from sideline to sideline.
Yeah.
He definitely changed. I felt like he changed the way teams look for middle linebackers.
Oh, he definitely did. I mean, he recognized everything. And there. I mean, even just watching random YouTube videos of him and seeing him call out plays, before they even happen, just checking the formation. This is where they're going. This is what they're doing. And watching him and Thomas Davis, especially watching those two work together, dude, they were unstoppable, and Geekley came into the league, I think in either 11 or 12. And like he changed the way that Carolina played defense. And then, it wasn't too long after that we lost Peppers and Peppers left us and whatever. And I think he was up in Minnesota and wherever the hell else he went.
Did he go to Minnesota? No, he went to Chicago.
Did he go to Chicago? Okay.
Yeah, he went to Chicago.
Yeah,
Or no, I lied. He went to Green Bay actually and won a Super Bowl.
Green Bay,
Green
was
Bay.
it? Okay. Yeah.
I thought he won the Super Bowl with Green Bay. I think he left back in 13, I want to say.
Oh, see, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
Now you're gonna make me look it up.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because I mean, and Peppers, I've always had much respect for him, especially coming out of North Carolina, a place not exactly known for their football, and still being as solid as he was, man. And I when he retired and put out his video on the Carolina Panthers webpage and thanking everybody, and this like. That's one of the few videos that really got me. I mean, he was such a good guy.
Yeah, he I lied. He did not win the Super Bowl. With the Green Bay Packers. He got drafted in 02, played to 09 for you guys, left in 09. Okay. He went to Chicago from 2010 to 2013.
And then the Packers.
And then the Packers in 14 and 16. And gotcha. What year did the Packers win this? Let's see if he won the Super Bowl.
Well, he either would have been 14, 15, or 16 if he was with them. But
I can't remember if they won it in 13 or 15.
I couldn't tell you. Give me 2 seconds. Be right back.
Trying to think here. I'm looking on his his stats right now. I felt like he did get a Super Bowl though. I thought he did. Um,
Sorry.
You're good. Now this is killing me. I can't remember. See. I always thought he had a Super Bowl.
He may not have. I mean, either way, he
I
was a hell
always
of-
liked him. My cousins played for Lapeer High School, Lapeer
Oh,
West.
okay.
You probably know what I'm talking about. They
Yeah.
always they used to go to a football camp all the way down to Virginia, and Peppers used to. It was Peppers and a couple North Carolina Panthers that taught it, and they all helped like the whole team. The whole team out. It was like a summer camp. It was like 2 weeks. It was like 2 weeks long, something like that.
Yeah, I don't think that he ever won a Super Bowl.
Nope, he didn't.
No, not at all. I mean, he's gotten a
He went
Lombardi.
he went to one with you guys in 04 though. When you guys went to
with Jake Delhomme. Yeah.
see, I always thought he won it with the Packers because I knew he played with the Packers. I just didn't realize it was a year after they won it. Because I want to look that up. I want to say that was 2013, but that might have been 2010. Actually, I think about it.
Let's see. Green Bay last won the Super Bowl.
2011.
11. Yeah. So now he was with us.
Yeah, he was still with you guys. Or
Yeah.
no, he was with the Bears.
No. Yeah. You're right.
That was second year of his Bears contract.
Yeah, that's right.
And you know the funny thing is, there's a good chance that he could have had an offer on the table from Green Bay, and he probably picked Chicago over Green Bay.
Well, good God, who was playing quarterback at the time in Chicago?
I think Jay Cutler at that time.
Butler?
Yeah, because 06 was. Wait a minute, was it Cutler?
Was it 2011? We said.
I'm trying to think, was it Cutler? I'm trying to. I know they. Oh no, they went to the Super Bowl in 06. The Bears did. They had two quarterbacks play for them that year. Rex Roseman and Kyle Orton.
No, are you talking 2011?
What do you
Jake
mean?
Cutler, Josh McCown. You talking for the Bears?
I'm going to look that up.
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm seeing 2011 would have been Jay Cutler, Caleb Haney, whoever that guy is, and then Josh McCown, who is now the Carolina Panthers quarterback coach. So yeah, and then Jay Cutler, McCown, Jason Campbell, Jimmy Clausen, who also played for Carolina. That's 2015 though.
Yep. Yeah, that would have. Yeah, you're right. 2000. I just looked up 2010's roster. Yeah, they had Jay Cutler, Matt Forte, Hester, Johnny Knox, Greg Olson as tight end.
Yep, that was before we picked him up.
Yeah, and they had the like baddest defense back then.
Oh, hell yeah, they do.
Yeah, their defense was Israel Adanti was left defense end, Matt Ternina, Anthony Adams, Julius Peppers, Lance Briggs, Brian Urlacher,
Oh yeah.
Krisha
Well, that was
Tom Young, Tim Jennings, Charles
yeah.
Tillman,
Tillman was
Daniel
good.
Manning, Chris Harris is free safety. So now I know why he picked the Bears because I remember back then in 2010 they were predicted they were supposed to be like the Super Bowl team out of the North because they had
Well,
Jay
yeah.
Cutler come from Denver, and then
Yep.
they had that bat, and then there was a baddest defense. That defense was supposed to be the defense to get them back to the Super Bowl from because they went previously in 06.
Yeah.
And
that
Jay Cutler was supposed to be the missing piece.
They were coming up on oh God, who was the quarterback? Grossman.
Yeah, because they had, remember Rex Grossman started 06, took him to the
06,
Super Bowl. 07, Rex Grossman went from Super Bowl caliber QB to who the fuck are you? And then Kyle Orton took over because I think Kyle Orton originally started 2006, and then Grossman came in and took his job and ran it all the way to the Super Bowl. But what really got him to the Super Bowl was Brian Urlacher and the defense. Because back in 06, they had the #1 defense. That's when Hester went crazy with all the punt returns. I think that was like one of the first years when Hester started going crazy with all the punt returns was 06. And then 07, Rexman sucked. It went Kyle Orton. And then 08, I think it was Kyle Orton, Rex Grossman again. And I think they stuck with that 09. But that could have been the trade for Jay Cutler in 09. It was one of the two. But
I think that's right around the same time they picked up Cutler. Yeah.
It was either that 2010 because I knew that was when Josh McDaniels got his first head coaching job. Because that's how he screwed Denver up in a matter of minutes. It wasn't a matter of days, it was a matter of minutes. As soon as he made that trade, it was bloop. Denver went downhill after that. That's why I feel like we're in deja vu, because here's Josh McDaniels with the Raiders, and he's already traded their franchise QB. He did the same thing in Denver. So I feel bad for Raider fans for that because it's like a deja vu situation. Here he is doing the same mistake, same shit all over again. So it's like, is he making the right moves at this point? Or is he still making bad moves? That's one thing about the NFL, it's like, it's crazy to see people get so many chances. If that makes sense. Because it's like, we all know the outcome.
But you have to look at the underlying pool of people that are below him. And that, if this guy is considered a top tier player, coach, whatever, looking at it from an upper management standpoint, do you stick with the guy who maybe failed a little bit, just because of the system he was with, or do you take a gamble on somebody who's never done this shit before? You kind of go both ways with it, really. But I mean, most people are going to trust somebody who's been in the industry beforehand. So, I'm not surprised that all these coaches and GMs get second and third chances. So
let's get back more to Carolina.
all right.
Do you see any big like changes coming? Like, you think the new owner might bring in a new stadium? Because if I'm not mistaken, you guys have one of the older stadiums in the league.
We do. And as far as the stadium's concerned, Now, I don't expect anybody outside of the Charlotte area to really have any type of insight on this as far as, David Tepper put in a shit ton of money into a training facility just south of Charlotte. Uh, Charlotte is a border city.
Yeah,
So, just on the south side of Charlotte is South Carolina. He put in a ton of money into the city of Rock Hill to be able to start up and start building a training facility and this and that, for spring training and all that stuff, uh, which he recently backed out of, I'd say roughly a year ago, which, kind of gave everybody in the Charlotte area and, surrounding, just kind of a bad taste. Uh, we've actually been hearing word of multiple things. Uh, Directly across the street and across the highway from where the current Bank of America Stadium is, there is a metal foundry site. And those guys have been looking to sell for probably about the last 15 years, but have never gotten the price that they wanted. Uh, Tepper, David Tepper may change that. So we may end up with a new site for our stadium, but it's only going to be a handful of blocks away from where it is currently. Uh, you know, Tepper's a businessman, so he's going to look at it for the property value. If he tears down the current Bank of America Stadium and builds up high rises, he's probably going to make more money off of that in the long run. But they've also talked about possibly even putting a dome over the existing stadium as it sits, which is doable, but probably not the most cost-effective way to do things. The biggest thing that he's looking for, and he's stated this numerous times, is that they would love to have Charlotte be able to host more stuff. Ever since David Tepper has taken over the Carolina Panthers and has taken over ownership of the Bank of America Stadium, previous ownership, there was no concerts. There was nothing but football happened in that stadium, and it was a money pit. So now we've brought in, since David Tepper came on, there's been numerous concerts, events. We actually have just announced 2 days ago, for our AHL team for hockey, the Charlotte Checkers will be playing an outdoor game in Bank of America Stadium, which is freaking awesome.
especially being in North Carolina, where it's normally not that cold for outdoor rink.
Yeah. So I mean, like he's and not to mention that we've recently brought on a professional soccer team, which I know nobody really cares about, but I like them. They're good, and then they're doing what they can, and I support my local teams. So he bringing on a major league soccer team that plays there, pretty much every weekend in the off season of football. He's just bringing in more money, and he's bringing in more revenue, just more attraction to the Charlotte area. So I can't really blame him for that.
Now, as a football fan, do you want to see your team actually go to a dome?
Do I want to see them what? Sorry.
Actually play in a dome?
No. I when Tepper came on, probably one of the biggest and worst decisions that even between players and management and fans and whatever, the biggest difference that he made that pissed people off was that Carolina was one of the last few who was completely open air and completely natural grass. He did away with the natural grass. We are all turf now.
Oh, I know, because the league was actually
it.
investigating after you guys beat the Lions.
Well, yeah, and also our injuries piled up like crazy after we turned to that. So I mean, I'm not a fan of the turf. You know, and the thing that killed me is that they brought in they did a private soccer game about a middle of last summer, actually, where they brought in a team from England to play the Charlotte team. And the team from England would not play on artificial grass. So they came back in, they resodded the entire field, and they played on natural grass. And that was the last time we've seen natural grass. Uh, I I personally don't like it, you know. And if anybody out there, you know, you included, if you've played on natural grass and then played on artificial, I'd
Eh,
rather be on natural grass all day long.
I had a discussion in a Lions group and one of the chats with the cool guy from Canada, and we were talking about it, and he was making cases for it. And like I explained to him, because I played on it. I used to when I played up here for high school, we used to go to Lakeland High School. That was over there by White Lake. And they were sponsored by Ford, so they were really a rich high school. They had a good football program, and they were one of the first high school with the same field as the Lions in Ford Field. Like Ford sponsored them, and it was the same exact turf with the rubber pellets.
Yeah.
When you're tackling someone, like people think it's not that big of a deal, dude. You get the rubber pellets in your eyes, your mouth. You go home to take a shower. At the end of it, you know, you put your boxers off and rubber pellets just fall out. And you're like, how are rubber pellets even make it in there? You know, because you got a girdle on and pads, you know what I mean? You got pants.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you find them things everywhere. You're picking them out of your beard. I found one in my nose. You know,
Oh yeah.
it's like, dude, like I told him, I was like, I would be the biggest baby in the NFL if I had to play on that turf every week. I would do it for the money and love every minute of it.
But man,
I would cry like a little baby, about the damn rubber pellets, because that shit was misery, especially when you slide like 3-4 yards after tackling someone, and now you got a week-long fucking rug burn across your elbows, and it's like, this shit hurts. Like, how? So I feel for these NFL players getting tackled on that shit every week, in and out. Like, how are you moving your arms? How are you not like rug burn? Now I'm starting to realize like why all these players wear all these sleeves and stuff. Because before I was like, you know, these sleeves, I guess they're kind of cool. You know, they go with the uniform pretty good. But I'm like, that's just kind of show. I always thought it was more for the show. You know, the look cool.
I mean, now that I think about it, more of it is probably for the rug burn.
No, I'm thinking that's what I just put in mind. Like, now it makes sense why they're always wearing the sleeves on their arms and stuff like that. It's because they don't want the damn rug burn, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I experienced that, you know, playing, you know, soccer throughout high school and all that. So I mean, yeah. So
I don't like the turf just as simply because I've had it happen to me. Like, you go try to turn and cut and go the opposite way, and your foot don't want to. Sometimes your foot just don't. It won't turn. And, you know, it's like you got to try to stop yourself, then go. And it's like when you're playing in NFL, and players don't have time to stop, to come to a complete stop, then go. They just do it. And then in the process of doing it, that's how they're tearing their ACLs and Achilles like they are on these turfs. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I explained to him earlier, I know the union just completed their investigation, and they're trying to they want to push the NFL now to go away from it. But either way, all these teams, including you guys, are probably going to get, maybe not you guys so much because you're outdoor, so they could easily force you to go grass. But a lot of these dome stadiums, they're screwed. Like the Lions you would have to grandfather the Lions in. There's no way you can put real grass in Ford Field. You can, but it's not going to last.
No, well, and a lot of it, you know, especially from our standpoint, when we did switch from the natural to the artificial, the biggest thing that they noted was just monetarily, it's way easier to take care of artificial. And yeah, I get that, but you're making millions of millions, the hand over fist constantly all day long. And you don't want to spend the extra little bit amount of money that it is to keep the players that you are paying millions a year even safer. I'd rather be hitting dirt all day than be spitting out pellets.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like I told him, he's like, well, he brings a good point. He's like, grass, gets wet, slippery, slick.
Yeah.
Look at the Super Bowl and the paint they use made the field all shitty. I was like, I
Very-
understand that shit can happen. Like, but I'm like, it's not like NASCAR, for instance, after Dale Earnhardt Jr. died or Senior died, where they got very lucky and actually made the sport pretty damn safe today. Because I don't think no one's died in an accident since.
Not
Not in the NASCAR level, anyway.
not in the NASCAR league, no.
But I'm like, that's not football. I mean, because they made a machine safe. Football is all human. And humans will make errors on positioning, on hits. You see the freak accidents happen,
Oh yeah. I mean,
So you can't control that. So to me, it's like, you're not going to make football 100% safe. But if you ask me, I'd rather play on a field that I know there's a chance of me getting hurt, but I don't have to worry about trying to run a corner route if I'm a receiver and getting my foot caught up in the turf and tearing my ACL on running straight. You know what I mean? Grass is not going to do that. I mean, can you still tear your ACL in the football game? Sure. But look, if you go back and you look at the ACL injuries, the old turf, the Silverdome turf, that was probably safer than the new turf.
It probably had a lot more give to it.
It really didn't, because my dad got to play on that turf when he was when he played football for junior rec. And he said getting tackled on that was like a cement floor. He said it had no give at all. But it was flat. You're basically wearing tennis shoes. It was like almost playing on a basketball court in a weird way. So that was probably more safer than from tearing your ACLs. I mean, you probably got a lot more concussions and broken bones from it. But this new turf, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some great technology out there. But it's like, you got to they have to figure this technology out. So what I'm thinking is, the dome teams that can't put real grass, they got to be grandfathered in. Now, what the NFL could do is stop from like outdoor teams going to turf and new stadiums getting turf. If you want a dome stadium, you got to make it like Vegas and the Cardinal Stadium, where they can reel the field outside and maintain the grass outside all week, and then roll it back in for game day. Because that's how the Raiders had, and the Cardinals have real grass at their stadium. I don't know if you knew that. Their stadium rolls out.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what they're gonna have. But it's like Ford Field, there's not enough room in Detroit you have nowhere to put it, you know what I mean? And the parking lot there is not big enough. You would have to go across the street and take a whole street away from the city to do it. So I mean, but here's the crazy thing is, there's Robert Woods said there's a possibility the Lions might even build a new stadium, which is really crazy, because Ford Field's not that old. Because Ford Field is moving, because the Lions practice facility is in Allen Park, and they're closing it down after they just put a bunch of money into it too. So they put new turf there. But they're closing it down because Sheila wants to build a new training facility, and she wants all the top technology, all the stuff for the players, for them, all the top of the line stuff, according to what Robert Woods was saying in the statement. and he said it's a possibility to even get a new stadium out of the deal, where they might build the stadium and the practice facility all in one, kind of like the Patriots thing.
Well, that's what the Panthers are looking to do right now too.
Because like right now, like the players, it's like kind of crazy because like Jerry Jacobs, the cornerback for the Lions, number 39. I know where he lives. Like, I'm not trying to sound crazy or nothing. I just follow him on Snapchat, and I got to see him Snapchatting off his balcony, and I'm like, bro, you probably shouldn't be doing that because I know what corner it is. I'm not going to say that corner just because I don't want, in case some crazy person's watching this. And it's like, hey, I'm going to try to find him. I know what corner it is because I drive past the damn condos probably 30 times in a week, if not more.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, it's like maybe 10 minutes from my house. And it's like, you probably should be advertising it. So it's like, I feel bad for kind of players because they all live around here because they're close. So they're close on Sundays. But then they still have to drive like a half hour from around here down to the facility every morning.
Dude, same thing around here. I mean, you know,
I mean, you kind of expect it living in North Carolina because, I mean, you guys Charlotte is a city, but it's big cities in the South is different than big cities in the North, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah. No, it definitely is. It definitely is, without a doubt.
Because you can leave the city and be in the mountains in like a half hour, if not sooner. You know what I mean?
From where I am, and I'm only about maybe 15 miles from the center city of Charlotte. Yeah, I'm about an hour and a half from the mountains and about 3 hours from the beach. So, I mean, you got an escape either way.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you're kind of in an ideal location.
Yeah.
You're in the middle. I know Charlotte quite a bit. I never had too much deliveries in Charlotte, though. Surprisingly, that I drove through it about 1,000 times, though, if not more.
All right, so let me break it down here. What you kind of already know my thought on the first pick. Who do you think we're gonna take?
Well, since we're doing the show Sunday, I don't want to really answer.
You don't want to jump in? All right.
I don't want to know what we can have a discussion. I just don't want to release.
All right, so
your pick.
Just okay. So maybe not exactly getting your pick then, but I mean, you know, the biggest possibilities, obviously, looking at Stroud and Young, and then oh Christ, what's the other kid's name?
Richardson. He's starting to make some noise. Will Levis.
I mean, there's been about 4 to 5 guys who have been, you know, up on the top of the charts, and I'm curious to kind of see what the heck we're gonna do too, and especially looking at some of the Bryce Young and everybody, you know, hyping up as far as like, oh, his height and he's not going to be able to do it. And, you know, you look at stats with other players that have had the same, you know, height and production as him, and they don't do that good. And then you look at CJ Stroud, who has a damn good college record, but yeah, and being a Michigan fan, yes, I'm a little biased, but Ohio State quarterbacks have a terrible record in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, the best one to date, I guess you could say, coming in the league right now, is Justin Fields.
Yeah,
he shows potential, but until I see his full passing game bloom, I can't say that yet. I think this is the year he could bloom, though, because I guess like we discussed a little bit earlier in the show, you know, the Bears are actually going to have a decent wideout core for him to actually throw the ball to this season. Yes. So I mean, we'll get a lot of our answers. I mean, if CJ Stroud is just happens to see this, but I'm pretty sure he's hoping that, Justin Fields kind of takes the notch off this year before he gets the helm. Because, I feel like any kid comes from Ohio State, they face that shit right off the bat, right off rip, coming in the league. They hear people talking about that. So, I know it got to be a shitload of pressure already on you to be a rookie quarterback and a new franchise QB when you get to take the reins over. But just to have to try to break that statistic on top of learning the league and becoming a successful QB, like it might not mean nothing to these guys. I'm not sure. Yeah. I just know if it was me, I know that damn thought would be in the back of my head day in and day out.
It has to be a tremendous amount of pressure to be able to be the number 1 draft pick and know that you're being brought in to lead a team of guys who obviously are going to be older than you, more experienced than you, but you're going to come in and you're going to be the one to grab the reins and guide that horse home.
Sometimes, if you think about it, there's sometimes I thought about this. If I ever got to go to the draft, would I want to be number 1? And I've always told myself, like, being number 1 would be cool as shit. But you know what's cooler than being number 1? Is when you get picked like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You get way less pressure. You still get the big money because you're in the first top 10. And you get to go in and just be yourself. You don't have to try to live up to that number 1 pick, that number 2 pick.
Yeah, the pressure has to be, tremendous.
and I feel like as fans, every team we all do our own. We're shitty as a whole fan base across the league at points. You know what I mean? And that's like one thing I hate it. Like, I'm okay with the trade of Jeff Okudah. But for him, for instance, a part of me is pissed off because I was like, dude, I feel like as a fan base, we did the kid dirty. You know what I mean? Yes, he's from Ohio State. He's even from Ohio State. So we already know I wasn't really huge on him. But still, I'm not going to sit there and blame his first 2 years on himself. It sucks he got hurt. But, last year was his first full year. And he did get kind of benched and rotated out at the end of the year because his play went south there towards the end. But for majority of the year, for his first rookie year, basically his rookie season and his third year, I felt like he did pretty decent for seeing the field all season for the first time.
Oh, he did. He definitely.
I feel like, he might not be the big shutdown corner we wanted, but I felt like he could be maybe our third or fourth or a good rotation player, for breathers.
That's progression. I mean, he has to progress.
And he would still, get an NFL career out of it and maybe even earn the starting spot down the road full time.
Absolutely.
But I feel like a fan base, we did him kind of dirty. People were completely talking shit. Like every time he made a bad play, you check the group, you go in a group and you check the posts. There'd be like fucking 15 posts about how he's trash and this and that. And I'm like, man, you guys just can never cut a player a break. I don't care how good or how bad you are. You cannot control injuries. If you can control injuries, no star players would ever get hurt.
Oh, yeah. No,
no, I get it. If he didn't get hurt his first 2 years and he played first 2 years and he still sucks in year 3, now I'm with you. Get him out of here. He's worthless at this point. But when, he gets a rookie year in his 3rd-year contract and, he holds his own a decent amount of the time throughout the season, that's all you can ask for out of a guy.
Yeah.
But I am happy though he did get traded in a weird way because I feel like Atlanta will are actually going to start him. And he's actually going to get a fair deal. He's going to get a fresh start, kind of like a Jared Goff situation where, he can get away from the bad experience in Detroit. Because I don't think he had a personally bad experience, but
No, but with Detroit, dude, a lot of it is always boiled down to ownership and them wanting control of everything.
yeah,
And I mean,
it's not like that anymore,
the
though.
same narrative since the mid '80s. No,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not anymore. But I mean, it's they're trying to change the culture out there, which I can
Yeah.
appreciate. So
You know what I mean? And that's what I'm happy about the new owner, because now it's Sheila, the daughter's in full control, and she got Brett Holmes and Dan Campbell full control of the team. Don't get me wrong, she's in the meetings with them, but like she's been honest, like they tell me this, and this is what they expect, and she's like, I roll with it.
yeah,
She's like, I trust them when they tell me this is the move we're gonna make. And she came in back of this in begin last year when we started out bad. She pulled a press conference and she told the fans, like, I'm not firing the coaches. I believe in their plan. We're close. We're going the right direction. And then bam, it wasn't long after that we went out for the rest of the season, except one game.
And that's huge. I mean, just from a fan base standpoint, from the coach's standpoint, from the player standpoint,
Yeah.
I mean, being
And the
able
crazy
to
thing is, a couple weeks before they started that, the radio stations already started talking about firing the guys that they need to be fired. And I'm like, dude, are you serious? It's their second year. They were honest from the start. Don't get your hopes up. This is a full rebuild. Like I'm like, don't get me wrong. Was the outlook that the Lions could make the playoffs with how weak the North looked this year?
Mm-hmm.
For sure, there was chances of that. Yeah. But let's be realistic. If Green Bay was Green Bay and Minnesota was good, Detroit would never even had a chance in the first place.
Yeah. Well, I mean, shit,
not this year anyway.
Dude, same shit down here. I mean, Christ, if New Orleans and Tampa had always been holding up their end of the bargain, Carolina would have been battling it out for third with Atlanta like we did for, most of the last 20 years. I mean, we couldn't battle against Drew Brees, dude. Brees kicked our ass every fucking time. But I mean, you just gotta buckle down. You gotta figure out who the hell you have, what you can do with them, what you can't do with them, and make the according adjustments to make things happen the way that you want them to happen. And we never made the right combination of players, coaches, management to be able to make that happen.
Yeah. I mean, it all starts from the front and all works the way down. You know what I mean? You never, like, when I first started watching Lions, William Clay Ford Sr. was the owner and chairman and active. You never seen him on TV. You always seen the son, but never him.
Yep.
And then his wife took over after he passed. And you've seen her on draft night here and there, a couple interviews, but not that much. No. And then now the daughter got control, and you're seeing her everywhere. Like, she's pulling out press conference, calling the fans out, like, we're not firing no one. Basically, shut up and hold tight and see, wait till the product is finished before you judge. And it's like, about time we got an active owner. You know what I mean?
When you have somebody who's able and capable and not scared to talk back to the fans, that the fans honestly respect that more. I mean, we really do. I mean, we had Jerry Richardson before we had David Tepper, and Richardson never said nothing, never came out, never did press conferences. Same exact scenario you're talking about. David Tepper, in his first year out here, you could damn near find this guy who is a $16 billion made man You could find him sitting out there in the parking lot, pre-gaming and having beers with fans, and just making it that much more relatable made people give him that much more respect. And same thing in your case.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's nice because I don't remember any other off season in my whole career of my whole life being a Lions fan that I've sat this much relaxed and ease to an off season. There's not been one moment this off season where I was like, what the fuck you guys doing? This is stupid. This is bad move.
Yeah.
I'm literally sitting there like, okay, we traded Jeff Okudah. Okay, not bad. We got a 5th round pick. I mean, yes, he's a 3rd round pick, but with the 2 first years and a little bit of playing time he got on his schedule, you ain't getting a 3rd round pick.
No.
You know what I mean? And you see fans cry about that. It's like, dude, you can't trade a 3rd round pick if the guy didn't play for 2 years.
Yeah.
He's got 1 year underneath his belt. You're not getting a 3rd round pick for him.
No.
But it was pretty good that you got a 5th round pick. Because in reality, most teams probably would only get offered maybe a 6 or a 7 for somebody that hasn't been proven yet.
Yeah.
And Atlanta was like, hey, we'll give you 5th. And Brett Holmes was like, hey, take it.
Yeah.
Send it over.
No, absolutely. Go ahead.
Like when Matt Patricia's here, man, I was sitting there like, what are we doing? I had high hopes when he was here, but that failed miserably.
Yeah.
And I feel like Bob Quinn took advantage of the mother because she was the owner of the team back when he hired Matt Patricia.
That was going on. Yeah.
I feel like he really took advantage of her, convinced her that this is the right way to go, and then they just did all their moves and really killed a decent team. Because when they got here, we had a couple playoff runs that fell short, and we just missed the playoffs. Should have won the division twice. We had a good competing team, and then Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn get together, and then it was just like from day one they just lit the dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Burned it down, just like that. Within 4 years, we went from a playoff contender team to back to the basement.
No, well, so did we, man. I mean, right after the Super Bowl, we, obviously we don't have the same, legacy as the Lions, without a doubt. Especially being only a 27-year-old team or 28, without doing the math right now. But right around that area, we don't have that long of a legacy. And I think everybody is so centered on having to get that Super Bowl. I mean, there's, with all these teams in the league right now and the competition as high as it is, I mean, it's a cutthroat business.
Oh, it is for sure.
And you're looking at some of these players in the offseason who have, completely gone sideways of what anybody ever would have thought they would have done. And maybe it's for the potential, maybe it's just for the money, but I mean, it is such a gamble every damn year in the NFL as far as who's going where, who's doing what, unless you have a consistent winning team who has been successful. Just using the Patriots, from the early 2000s into the late teens, they had the right recipe. They knew what they wanted. They went for it. They got it. They made it happen. And now I think we're kind of seeing the same thing with Kansas City too.
Yeah.
Whoever the hell they want, they're trying to get them because they do have that premier quarterback who is just as much as he talks like Kermit the Frog, Mahomes is one hell of a quarterback, and he's going to continue to bust asses for years to come. And
like, I'm glad you brought that up, is because like this is why like me and David were just talking on last Sunday's broadcast, and I brought this up. One reason why Kansas City, how these dynasty teams get created. See, people brag on the salary cap, like, oh yeah, man, the salary cap kills dynasties.
Salary cap doesn't matter.
It don't matter. And the thing is, because as soon as you look at the Patriots, and all the Super Bowls they won, they look at, oh, well, they must have paid all those players a lot of money and bought the championships. Not the case. Because after you win 1 and 2 championships and you keep majority of that team together as a whole, you get other superstars later in the career who are willing to take pay cuts just to play 1 year to have a legit chance at a championship. So that's how New England stayed as dominant as they were with Brady, because the most money that they've ever spent is the year when they got Randy Moss and went undefeated. That was the most money capital team the Patriots paid. And Brady was still probably one of the lowest paid quarterbacks in the league at that time.
Yeah.
You know
why? Because it pays more to win than it does just to be there.
I mean, granted, I think Patrick Mahomes' contract is ridiculous for $500 million for 10 years. I think that's ridiculous. But I give the guy credit that he took a 10-year contract, basically locks him in, basically probably career at this point. I don't see him playing for anybody else.
No. I don't
so, and it still maintains pretty cap friendly because it's a 10-year long deal. And every year now he's restructured his contract to free up money. So he's doing his part to keep the team with money. That's why Kansas City is going to be another fucking powerhouse for the next 10 years.
Well, yeah, but because it works into his benefit. I mean, it works into his benefit to take that price cut. And I mean, you're making that type of money every damn year.
Yeah.
Fine. No problem. Bring in whoever the hell you need to make us better.
Exactly. I mean, granted, the front office could fuck it up and, make some bad moves and cost them. But if they keep on the pace they are right now, they're getting players coming in their third contract that want a damn Super Bowl, saying, hey, man, sign me for 1 year. I'll take that $3 million. I'll take that $4 million because I want the Super Bowl. After I get the Super Bowl, I'll go sign another long-term deal or finish my career out and get fucking paid because now I'm a Super Bowl champion.
It's
a great business situation, but you have to be that team.
Give me all those incentives. Give me all this, hey, production percentages, and you do what you're supposed to do. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. And you win that Super Bowl, man, I guarantee that bonus is going to be worth it.
And, and that's the way the NFL is working. To be a good team in this league, you got to be very smart with that salary cap, because if you're not, you will completely fuck yourself faster than shit.
It's pay to play. But the biggest thing lies on upper management and determining who to play for that much pay.
Because we all find out you can't pay for a Super Bowl. It happens sometimes. The majority of the time when it happens, it fails. And then you got to break your team down. Look at Tampa.
Yes. Yeah. Perfect example. They're completely rebuilding now.
I mean, the only good thing for Tampa is it works good for Baker. Baker's going to have a legit chance to restart his career.
True.
And which I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of excited to see how he looks, because I wouldn't mind for a guy like him to get a second chance.
He's consistent. Well, this is going to be like his third chance, but I mean,
you can't count that because he didn't get to the Rams until very late in the season.
I mean,
I felt like Matt
consistent.
Rule completely fucked him over with
Oh,
stupid
he
play
did.
calls,
He
and
did.
then the relationship just got too bad.
Yeah,
I felt like Baker could have been your quarterback. Honestly, if you guys still had Baker on
I
your
did
team,
too. I did too.
if you had the right coach, which I think the coach you got now would be good with Baker. I think Baker could be
Yeah,
a very good quarterback.
yeah. That
With the
college
team you
mentality
got,
that Rule
with
had
the
is
team you're
not.
going in this season, if you still had Baker, I would probably say you could win the division and make the
Well,
playoffs for sure.
I didn't think we should have gotten rid of him. But I mean, then again, when you sat here and you looked at, even before the trade, we still sat, eighth in the draft,
Yeah.
eighth or ninth, I can't remember. But I mean, when you go back and you look at the quarterbacks who are available and the people who we could have had or could have done anything with, I mean, there's still more options, outside of Stroud and outside of what's his name? But
Young.
I mean, yeah. But I mean, either way, you still had so many guys and so many options. The Kentucky quarterback, I know he's up there real high. Gosh dang it, who's the other guy? Hold on. Let me see if
Richardson from Florida.
yeah, Richardson. Yes. Yeah, I think he's ranked like third or fourth right now. As far as quarterbacks in the draft. But I mean, I worry that we're going to rely too much on a damn quarterback to bring us out of obscurity, and it's not going to make a damn lick of difference. I mean,
I mean, with the with the, I think you guys I think you guys are going to be all right because your signings this offseason were pretty bigger than I expected,
well,
actually.
they were bigger than most of us expected too. I mean, between Shark, Sanders, Thielen, got a Garden,
You
McCray.
guys spent some money this year, and that's why it kind of makes sense to get the best rookie quarterback.
And we
To be
we
100%
are
honest.
still currently right now sitting in the number, I believe, 3 position as far as amount of room left on our cap. So I mean, we're let me I'm scrolling through here. Let me look here. Okay, yeah, we re-signed our long snapper. Okay, that's nothing big. Herb Miller. But yeah, I mean the big guys that we grab. Even Hayden Hurst, dude,
Yeah.
getting Hayden Hurst. That right there kind of surprised me. I didn't think he would be somebody that we would be interested in, but holy fuck, yeah. I mean, picking up Hayden Hurst is pretty big. Shit, sitting here trying to look at who the hell else we picked up here. Deshaun Williams, Shy Tuttle, yeah, Andy Dalton, Von Bell, McCray, Thielen, Sanders, Shark. Oh, and we just brought back wide receiver Demir Bird, who Bird was highly fucking loved here when he first we drafted him and then got rid of him, and he's coming back. So I really liked Bird. He was a solid wideout.
Yeah. No, he definitely you definitely got some. I'm excited just to see how you guys truly look this year.
I just want to see how the competition is in our division. I mean, the last 3 years, our division has been such a shit show. Just between New Orleans, Tampa, Atlanta, and us, that you never knew who was going to win, and by the time week 6 or 7 came around, everybody was betting on, okay, yeah, these guys are going, these guys are doing this, and then week 12 comes around and it's a completely different story. So
Yeah.
I'd love to see a little more dominance, aggressiveness. Just go out there, let's win it,
get me to the damn playoffs. Get me 2 rounds deep, and I'll be happy. You know, I
Exactly.
mean, it's just, I I don't like supporting someone who's going to sit there and constantly finish in last. Nobody does.
No one knows.
But I mean, it's such a gamble, man. But I mean, I think we've made the right moves this year, and in regards to the draft, that's going to make a huge play on what the hell happens.
Exactly. I think both of us have a hell of a year to look forward to.
Yeah, no, I'm as a defunct Lions fan, dude. I want to see you guys do damn well. I mean, it's been long overdue, and I've watched them from the days of Wayne Fonts and Spielman and Herman Moore and the Barry Sanders, obviously, and Detroit's well overdue as well.
Oh, for sure.
I think Carolina, we rode a lot off of that high from 2015-16.
Yeah.
And, just the change in ownership, the change in coaches, the change in quarterbacks, and just everybody kind of lost faith over the last couple of years. But I really think if we make the right choice on the first round pick, we may be a little more relevant than most people think. And I hope that goes that direction. So we'll see what the hell happens.
All right, buddy. We're probably going to wrap the show up. We've been live for over 2 hours already.
Hey, I love it, man. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to get up earlier, but
you're good, bud. You're good because you technically saved the show. The other guy was supposed to be on tonight. It happened to you the last time you were supposed to be on.
Yeah,
he just wasn't getting off work in time. And
nah, it is what it is, and thank you for anybody who's watching.
Yeah, thank you guys for who's watching. We're live for the first time on Kick, so if you're watching on Kick, follow our channel. We go live every Sunday, and then I'm either live with a different type of fan from a different team Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm trying to set something up for the live for the draft following Friday and Saturday. I know this Sunday we did a mock draft and the fans made the choice. So each fan made a choice for their team. And personally, Steve here has the number 1 pick. His pick is in, and we will be revealing the results this Sunday, 8 p.m. for the first round. So from pick 1 to 32, we will have all the results with me and David on a Sunday Night Spectacular, and we will talk about each pick and wait to see the results because I still don't know who anybody picked at all. I mean, I know where a couple people went, but that's about it. I'm still surprised. I still want to know who actually where everybody went.
I'm curious too.
I'm really excited for Sunday. So if you're not a follower, please like, subscribe, follow 4th&GOAL Sports on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Kick, Twitch, even Twitter right now. So we're on all the major platforms. This is just my first season, first time doing this broadcast, and I'm sure we're going to have some great times. And Steve, we'll get you back on here.
Absolutely.
Again, for sure, especially through the season. We'll definitely have an update show between the both of us and talk about where our teams are at that moment.
Thank you, brother. And I appreciate the chance coming on here and talking a little Carolina ball.
No problem, bud. Always love to have you. Always have great conversations with you. Also, if you guys are looking for a good group to join NFL Renegades, all 32 teams, we talk football, we give each other shit. It's all fun time. Steve's been admin in my group for about 2-3 years now. So we've known each other for a while. So if you're looking for a good group, come and join today. 365. We're always talking football. Anyway, thanks you guys for coming and joining the show tonight. Everybody have a good night. And thank you again, Steve. And
All right, bud.
I'm sure you'll be watching Sunday to see your pick and see how the draft results come out.
I will be there.
All right, buddy. You have a good
All
one.
right, have a good night, man.
Later, Bob.
Peace out.
Peace.